one game earlier in the season, but they played AD carry, actually. I believe they ran an Ashe game that just did not work out for them. So maybe they'll have more success with the Lemon Soda in the support role as opposed to that bot lane role. Either way, we are in this one, and that first ban is going to be a Lilia, and you know what? I have a confession to make. I was completely wrong about this champion.
Yeah, no, Lilia is incredibly strong, contrary to popular belief, as we see the two horsies get banned out here. So Lilia, was a bit of a meme for a little bit. People didn't really think she was that strong. However, we've seen in this tournament even that Lilia, when piloted by a good player, can be incredibly, incredibly strong in that mid to late game transition.
I would go so far as to say even when piloted by a not so good player, as when I've been playing League of Legends right now, Lilia has actually become my go-to jungle.
Oh, wow.
So all of that time I spent bagging this champion out, nope, I take it all back. Lilia is actually amazing. Free wins. Play Lilia jungle. It is fantastic for you, as we do see the Cho'Gath banned away. That has been a coffee favorite, no longer allowed.
Yeah, that has been a coffee favorite, and it's something to take note of as we see this top lane ban, is that pretty much both teams have a weak side top, which is going to be really, really important. So taking away those comfort picks from those top laners, trying to maybe destabilize that losing lane and maybe get a little bit of an advantage one way or the other, could actually cause some problems for the team if they're able to destabilize that top lane and make another lane that the jungler or the mid laner has to roam and help.
Yeah, I do like this sort of approach coming from both sides, although you did bring up that point. Both teams kind of had weaker topside performances. Now, for Coffee, his strong performances were when he got that Cho'Gath, which is why I really do like that ban out of UC. However, the issue that I have with UC is that, unfortunately, Kist has kind of been the one struggling as well when you look at UC overall, and I kind of feel with each side not really valuing top lane a lot. It's going to make for a pretty chaotic game down on the bot half of the map, especially over those dragons, and that's why I want to see some more brawly champions get locked in and be prioritized here. The Lucian being one of those ones that could have been really good. Lulu as well, kind of great once you hit level 6 in sort of a chaotic team fight. Neither of them will be available. Priority now for UC, and they're going to opt for an Orianna pick first. That surprises me. It's
an interesting pick. I think it's weird that they've gone for it first, but, picking the Orianna, getting that lockdown control mage in mid lane, get Esmeralda onto it, is a really good idea. It forces Kwayaki to have to build around it, as we see a more traditional and conventional approach in pick and ban for this tournament. As bot lane gets locked in, Ashe, Lux, especially in the last couple of weeks, has been an absolute nuisance in the bot lane. So really interested to see how this goes. If Lux lands a stun, it's pretty much a confirmed kill with the Ashe there. If the Ashe is able to lock them down, that's a lot of damage coming out, as we have a Senna being hovered for UC.
Senna pretty much has to get locked in right now. The UC doesn't have any other choice if we're going to go down like our bot lane AD carry tier list. Senna right there beneath Ashe and then Caitlyn. Not surprised to see that get locked in. Also, going back to that Orianna pick, it has been sort of a regular go for one Cobra Esmeralda. Cobra is the name we're going to see on screen. Similarly, when you're looking at the UOW side, though, I really like that Lux look in. And again, you see they're going to be taking Olaf for Debatable. This is his fourth Olaf game every single time. I mean, it's his name that comes into play right now where he's making Debatable engages on this champion. You see they're getting their comfort picks. They haven't had success on these champions yet, and so I don't really think UOW minds that much.
Yeah, and for UOW, we've seen Bill play, I believe he played a Kha'Zix game against an Olaf, and we saw the damage that came out of that Kha'Zix. It was a lot of damage, so I don't think he is scared at all of picking more aggressive champions into this team, as we have the Victor locked in for Kwayaki. Again, control mage versus control mage. It's pretty much how it's going to go. Who can shove lane and roam the hardest is going to be what mid lane is going to come down to. As we get into the next round of pick and bans, and I'm curious to see Blitzcrank get banned away by UOW.
I'm not too surprised to see that. I think UOW is recognizing that bot lane is going to be very volatile, and thus they're starting to kind of hit some of those hard engaged supports and really force UC to play a passive style and force them to try to play through the top side of the map. And that's where UOW wants them. I think they have enough confidence in Coffee that he can win a matchup, even if it's a losing matchup in that top lane. Yet, I still expect that they're actually going to give that counter pick over to Coffee, and they should be opening with their jug next. Now, Bill is an interesting one for UOW because he has been the catalyst for a lot of their early games, and they're leaving his pick actually quite late, so he will be copying a couple bans, the Nidalee being one of them. I almost feel like UOW could have been better off taking that jungle before the second round of bans and actually leaving the Victor open.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that it's an option for them. They could have put that in, left the mid lane as an unknown. Because again, Victor, although one of a strong champion, hasn't exactly been a contended champion in this tournament. So it's a safer idea to pick the Kha'Zix, pick the whoever you're looking for, and then the chances are Victor's not going to get banned. And even if he does, you have other control mages in the game. So I am curious. We should see the jungle picked up here, and then leave the top lane for a counter pick. However, they could do something completely different. We do see the Kha'Zix get picked up, like I mentioned. Kha'Zix into this Olaf is not a new matchup for Bill.
No, it's not a new matchup, and it's one that Bill should be quite comfortable with. I want to do a little role-playing real quick, okay? You are Lemon Soda.
Yep.
You're traditionally an AD carry, but you're coming in on support. How do you feel when you cop 3 bans?
You play center.
Hey,
that's the trick, is you don't...
Well,
no, you picked Nautilus. There we go.
Look, there was still a couple more of those engaged supports still available. Leona was another one. I was going to mention the Nautilus, actually, when I saw the Morgana get banned. I thought they actually would have gone for the not ban instead. But still, a Senna Morgana lane, the amount of poke actually coming out of that would be pretty unbearable. Ornn's going to get locked in for Kist, so it does look as if actually... You see, they're still going to try to play through that bot lane with that Sen and Nautilus. I don't really know how that will go, and this is an interesting pick. Coffee willing to go toe-to-toe. Give him the winning lane. Give him the Kale.
I don't know how much I agree with that. I think it's, not a terrible option. Get that scaling hard, carrying the top lane. Although, no longer the powerhouse level 16 champion that Kale used to be. That used to be an absolute menace. But no longer the menace that we have seen. I think, again, the top lane is going to end up becoming very much a stagnant lane, as you've got the invulnerabilities and safety of the Kale versus the pure tank and sustainability of the Ornn. So I think it's very much just going to be who can get to the team fights faster, and whether or not the jungle want to try and prioritize that top lane. I think Bill will probably try to. I think as an option, but it's a very, very odd pick.
Level
overall.
6 is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, as it typically is in games that have Ashe involved. But I feel like just with that kill pressure from the Ashe alone, it's going to give Bill more opportunity to invade against their opponents right there. And that's what Kha'Zix wants to do. He wants to invade, find that Olaf on his own, and really take advantage of the isolation damage. And he may be able to do that just from the kill pressure out of that bot lane, out of that Ashe alone. Now, I feel actually a lot of UOW success is going to have to be coming through that mid lane. Just because you can have all the kill pressure that you want down bot, but if mid lane's going against them, that could be something a bit devastating. UOW kind of felt the burn of the mid lane actually last week, as we have some highlights for you when QUT took on UOW. So we'll be cutting to Summoner's Rift in just a moment. Please stay with us. Game 1 around the corner. The moment a Luminous Binding hits, your just as Janet arrives. The body block not enough. In fact, it actually turns into 2 kills for QUT. Bill, too late to the party, barely gets able to get to that tower in order to survive.
Yeah, this has gone from really badly for UOW. This was a lane that we said they needed to win. Jutire needed to get ahead.
Still wants this fight. Yes, Janet, you've had a hot start, but you still can't win the 1v1 with the ultimate, though. Janet helps put Bill to sleep. Yeah, Janet arriving to the scene. Coffee already taken down low with the press, the attack coming out of Tron the Palm. No chance, putting forth a dominant performance. Bill going to try to get something back. Unfortunately, it was just a bit too warded. Flick still might be caught out. Flash gets used, so does a teleport from behind. I believe that's Arcadian, but it doesn't matter. Bill has had enough as he dives forward, gets a kill. Luminous Binding on the back end, as well as Arcadian finds Jutire. Kawaii Ikea a little bit late to the party, yet with that flash, Bill does avoid the big laser out of Flick. Stuns on Arcadian. Will it be enough? Not quite. Kawaii Ikea still gets run down. So does Moxie Bay as Janet joins the fray. Tron the Palm, is he a 2-for-1 legend? Well, he's forcing the Stand United out of the Shen in lane. Where is that big life lifesteal from the Renekton. The heroic entrance going to help turn things around. Coffee barely gets back behind the tower, but it's actually Bill who's in a lot of strife. Bam goes the gargoyle. One goes down. The next one into trouble as well. Slice and dice.
They didn't have the Shed ultimate, but they're taking advantage of that Galio, and the fact that Galio is strong enough that they now have 2 Magi Soul Stealers on the side of QT. As Little Simo might as well pick one up. He's got the Dark Seal, he's just got a solo kill bot lane. Why not?
Arcadian on a rampage, but will go down. UOW gets one back, but at what cost? Because QUT is running straight through that open door. Heal forced to be blown by this Lux as the siege continues.
Yeah, but Totiro is out of mana. He's a caster ADC with no mana, so he's in a
here we go.
spot.
Kwaikia goes in and immediately goes down before the Frozen Tomb can even be played. Janet tries to hunt down Coffee and eventually has the Dark Binding to try to turn things around, but it is unable to connect. Ultimate being used. Go to sleep, Coffee. Go to sleep in a gray screen as another kill is secured by Janet. Pick off one member, but as you mentioned earlier, like there's just too much more as Arcadian feeling quite confident with Tron the Pawn by his side. They're willing to try to 2v4 this. In fact, it might even turn into a 2v5, and guess what? QUT are winning. They get one. Moxie Bay barely able to escape as Duteri arrives on the scene, gets 2 more kills for UOW, and
This is actually just game over.
is it time to start playing the cha-cha music? Are we going to be getting the Dancing Herald? Closer to that Nexus, big charge to end the game, kablamo! QUT, Dancing Rift Herald, they go to 3-1. Rift Herald is now just going to be immortalized forever in our QUT Intervarsity tournament. I mean, that was such a dominant performance from the home school of Queensland University of Technology, getting that win over UOW. And now, for poor UC, I feel like, you know, Waikato, they're going to be looking for some revenge, and there's only one school in their way, and that happens to be Canberra.
Yeah, I think UOW is really trying to solidify themselves in this tournament. They had that really good performance, and I think they want to show, like, hey, we shook up the competition week 1, and, you know, we're still here trying to shake it up. So UC really wants to, you know, get a win on the board. So I think they're going to be trying pretty hard to put a spanner in the works for UOW.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're going to have to. I mean, the reason why I'm coming into this favoring UOW, and I would even almost be favoring them regardless of how this draft actually went. UC, not only are they winless, but they also are coming into this one, unfortunately, with the shortest average game time. And you can sort of put 2 and 2 together what exactly that means. UC, they just have this tendency to let games snowball away from them very quickly. They'll be even for the first 5-10 minutes, and then as soon as laning phase kind of goes into this skirmish stage where teams start fighting for objectives, that's where things seem to go from okay to disaster and relatively quickly. UOW, they've proven to us back in that first week with that clean victory over UQ. Yes, UQ was not at full strength, but they do know how to close games with leads, and I expect UOW to be getting a lead at that same point where UC always seems to let leads kind of be given up, and then that could be the direction this game goes. Naturally, though, we have to get onto the Rift to sort of figure out who's going to take this one. It is UC in blue and UOW in red.
Yes, as we get into game 1 of the day, looks like we've got some pings coming down. Pretty conventional 5-point start from the look of it. Debatable plays, just having some fun in mid lane, trying to maybe catch Kwaikia there with a cleaver. Wasn't to be. They've opted with a glacial augment for the Senna, so trying to be as obnoxious as possible in the bot lane. You know, you've got slows on Ashe, you need to put slows back down onto Ashe to try and you know, Uno reverse Carter.
Yes, as we do see nothing too crazy in terms of runes as well. Everyone kind of running stock standard, what you'd expect. Press the attack being taken by Coffee up on that Kale up top is the one thing to take note, just because we don't normally see what Kale has. Also, Beat Saber. Didn't know that was a thing in League of Legends, but hey, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, Beat Saber Lux, as we see. Don't know what song she's going for there, but she seems to be doing pretty well. So hopefully that's an indication of how the game is going to go for UOW today, as Bill will be starting blue side. Meanwhile, from the looks of it, we have an invade coming down from UC trying to start his red.
A very late invade as well, and they're not actually going to be able to find out Bill, who did, as you mentioned, start on that blue side. So debatable. This is a very interesting play, and I kind of like it. It's going to set himself up for the potential of that triple buff, or at the very least, force Bill into some horizontal jungling, which could set up an early play up top against Coffee, who, on the Kayle, I mean, is pretty notorious for being very, very weak in this early game.
Yeah, the one main thing I like to take out of this is that it's proactive. And I think that's what it's going to come down to a lot, is that UC overall has not had the best games, and they haven't played as well as they could. However, if they're playing proactive, it gives them the best chance for them to be able to capitalize on something. So that's what I like to see here. They're not stagnant. They're not leaving the game in UOW's hands. They're saying, we're going to take this into our own hands and try and make something happen here. As Moxie Babe playing a dangerous game against a Nautilus.
And the other thing as well, as we get to see, you know, more poke coming down from UOW, this is helping track Bill. Now, granted, Bill actually didn't offer that horizontal jungling, so we are going to see Debatable possibly get that triple buff. Either way, though, this is helping track that jungler, which has just been so critical for UOW's successes, specifically in that early game. So they're being proactive and sort of finding ways to sort of catch this jungler out. Now, what I don't think they would be expecting is Bill to just come right in and try to steal that buff right back. Flash is being used by Debatable in order to escape. Bill won't find the kill. It was flash for flash, but now Debatable has to leave his own jungle.
Yeah, so now Bill's going to try and bring a little bit of capitalization back. You know, lost the red buff, but he's going to maybe try to take some wolves away, just deny some bounce camps. And the other benefit is he did get a Dark Harvest stack there. So, you know, the flash wasn't necessary. He wasn't going to get the kill, but he at least got a Dark Harvest stack, which is going to get that Kha'Zix scaling a little bit further and a little bit quicker, as we have Coffee stepping a little close to a wall there.
Yeah, but Coffee is going to feel comfortable to push forward, obviously given that information from Bill that, hey, Debatable, the jungler, he's gone. He's going to be going to the bot side now. You are free to bully and harass this top lane as much as you like and as much as you're capable of on this Kayle. Obviously, avoid getting near the walls or it will get turned against you. Bill now has set up camp, it looks like, on the top half of the map, willing to concede the triple buff just for the sake of giving Coffee space on this champion.
Yeah, giving him a little bit of space there, trying to respect the champion and what he can and can't do. As we had a potential gank trying to go down in mid lane, wasn't to be, pings going down, information to be had, as Debatable will end up picking up his third buff. Meanwhile, Bill is going to try and capitalize and get that crab while he can.
Yeah, this is, you know, you take 3 buffs, I'll take 2 Scuttlebugs, seems to be the trade that these junglers are going for. Bill pretty much cleared out that jungle and got pretty quick to that bot side of the map. Still should be looking to reset, though, before really trying to force any issue, because any trade, they will be an item down if, you know, in this situation, Debatable does make himself known. Instead, Bill is going to step forward. You have Debatable up above. Trade should favor UC at this moment, especially with low health bars out of both mid laners. Bill now getting spotted by Debatable and that sweeper, yet will concede to go to Raptors just as Debatable does move forward. A nice little axe will not connect, and Kawaii Ikea should be able to back out.
Yes, unfortunately for Debatable, he did not have his flash, as that was blown earlier by Bill, so he wasn't able to go for the flash Q to try maybe get some engage potential onto Kawaii Ikea. Ooh, that was a nasty whiff there, unfortunately for Moxie Babe, but you know, trying to capitalize on what you can, trying to catch them out, as that's a very safe lane from the side of UC. That also poses a massive threat if you let them get to 6, because although you are a, you know, you are an Ashe, you are a Lux, but they are a Senna and they are a Nautilus, and that is a scary, scary thing if you let that get ahead.
Operation Steal the Dragon is going underway right now. It should be spotted by Mr. Scuttlebug, yet UOW a little bit slow to react. The dragon should be secured. We might still get the fight as the root and the hook each connect on opposite ends. Bill just barely able to jump out. The gravity well, though, will stun a poor Debatable in place, and that will be first blood going to Kawaii Ikea. Teleport not going to be used effectively, as Herdiger is going to be able to flash to safety. Still, they lose the dragon, but they get first blood.
And here's something to take note of, is Cobra didn't actually have 6 there on the Orianna. Meanwhile, Kawaii Ikea did have 6 on that Victor, and that sort of changed that fight in their favor. Was able to get that ultimate down, get that damage down onto the enemy Olaf. Really, really close for UC. They're actually managing to catch Bill out with the dredge line early in that fight, as we're just going to see Coffee just poking down Cobra here.
Yeah, and part of a lane swap, it looks like. Kayle now running in that mid lane with Kawaii Ikea going up top. Interesting situation. I think they're feeling probably Coffee will be a little bit safer against that Orianna, just because Ornn has hit level 6 and all-inning on that Kayle would pretty much be disastrous in that situation. Either way, Kist is looking to reset, buy some items, and possibly get back into lane. Teleport's still available for the Canberra top laner, and he's actually going to be going bot lane instead. So everyone's just sort of flipping and moving around. A lot of interesting rotations.
Yeah, I was curious when he decided to go for the back because, you know, Ornn obviously has the ability to build items in lane. So I thought maybe there was some kind of lane swap going on, as we do see that we have the UC bot side switching. So we have complete switches on both sides of the Rift, as they're just trying to see what they can do to get any advantages or shake things up.
Yeah, this is, you know, it's very reminiscent, I suppose, of like Season 4 Korean meta. I'm not saying we're as good as the Koreans were back then. I mean, no one really was as good as Samsung White, and no one ever will be. Yet, it's fun to see UOW lane swapping and rotating around and seeing the same things coming out of Canberra. It has resulted in probably a less action-packed game than what we could have been expecting. However, with the deep scaling kind of required for UOW, Kha'Zix really excels once you get a couple items. Kale obviously wants to get to that level 16 power spike. That's right, 16. Not too surprising to see UOW kind of playing passive at this stage, yet you see they haven't been able to really find advantages of their own just yet.
But this is something that I am curious about, is why they decided to send Kiss down to that bot lane. Like, yes, he's safe in the sense that he's not going to... It's going to be very, very hard to die from Duterte and Moxie Babe. However, you know, it's still not a great lane because he's, as you see that, he's just shoved out a lane. Yep. Meanwhile, they just get a Rift Herald for their trouble.
Well, I mean, UC just answered your question. The play was for Rift Herald right there, and Kist is just going to be playing weak side. Kist is doing the old Season 5 Dyrus. I'm just throwing all old references. That's the theme of today. But yeah, he's doing the old Season 5 TSM Dyrus, where no matter where you go, you're going to be losing lanes. Everyone else on the team gets to play League of Legends. You get to play Tower Simulator, where you get to watch a tower slowly whittle away until it falls apart by countless sieging and potential 3v1 dives. Bill lurking in the area, trying to find a way in onto Kist 2. And for his own part, is staying nice and safe near that tower. Bill will happily steal those Krugs away. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does connect. Bill, though, he went for that last Krug. Eventually will show up. Just needs to leap and grab it, but the damage might not be there. Called the Forge God, turns it around, and Bill will fall. Kist gets himself a nice solo kill.
That was really, really unfortunate and poor communication from the side of UOW there, costing them a kill, as we have Debatable going for a questionable play.
No, I think this is good. Ragnarok's going to stop any of the slows and any of those luminous bindings, but the second it's gone, that's a nice double grab from Moxie Babe, yet still has to step in front of that axe to make the save. Barrier comes down. Duterte does not escape this time as Kist gets yet another one. And you see, for the first time in this tournament, have themselves a lead, and it's from the Ornn, who they completely abandoned.
Yeah, suddenly they're on the front foot, which is not where they've been at all. So I am surprised, to say the least. 2 kills onto the Ornn is pretty good, actually. Okay. It's helpful.
This was the life of Kist, okay? He gets sent to the bot lane where it's like, yeah, it's probably going to be 1v3. We're going to get Rift Herald. You're just going to have to put up with it. You're probably going to get dove, and you're probably going to die. And like the good soldier Kist is, he takes it. All right, well and good. Then the dive is botched. He gets not 1, but 2 kills, and they even give him Shelly down in that bot lane as well so he can get that tower plating. He went from the forgotten child to the favorite child in the span of about 1 minute.
Yeah, well, like most soldiers, General Luck was on his side this time, and, you know, the really unfortunate miscommunication from UOW there did cost them that kill and ended up costing them 2 kills onto Kist, because let's look at this. There was no reason he should survive here. You have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow come out. Bill, instead of going in there, decides to go for the Krugs, and then by the time he does go in, Duterte and Moxie Babe have backed off to the minion wave.
Yeah.
Maybe just leaving it for a few more seconds, allow that shove back in, then go for the jump would have been a better option, or even better option, jump in early.
UOW will get themselves a Constellation Dragon, though, on the tail end of the resets. As we saw right there, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow trying to be used as engage wasn't going to connect on anyone. Meanwhile, again, looking at our replay, I love Moxie Babe's attempt to step in front of that axe to try to make the save, yet kapop goes Duterte, and that will end, I mean, you know, a terrible, terrible exchange of plays for UOW. They still got the dragon, so it wasn't a complete wash. not the start they were looking for.
No, definitely not the start they're looking for, as the effective thing UOW did early game was shut Kist down. They had Coffee get those advantages in the top lane, the CS advantage. Now, unfortunately, with those kills, they're sort of making up for that as we have an engage here from Bill.
Nice shockwave, though. Will keep Cobra alive. Flash still available on this Orianna as well. Thing about Kha'Zix is if things start to fall behind, sometimes you can get a little panic trying to force plays, and if you don't have that damage there, it's not going to magically appear. So I feel like Bill is kind of in a rough situation already by not really getting some of these hot starts. He really felt like he needed that kill against Kist before, but again, wasn't able to pull it off. And now they want more on this bot lane. Call of the Forge God's just going to completely nail Moxie Babe, who has nowhere to run. The best hope for UOW is to get something on the tail end, yet they've already found that kill. Now it's up to escape. Kawaii Ikea out of the teleport. Does find debatable, but here comes the lemon soda. Depth charges, knocking Kawaii Ikea up, but not making the save, and that was a very late dredge line that you did not want to take. That's going to be 2 more going back to UOW, who retake the kill lead in this game.
And that's now a triple kill for the Victor. 4 kills now on that mid lane, which debatably is more beneficial than 2 on the Yawn. That is what happens when communication goes right. And, you know, they're prepared for things, and they have teleports available, and they're able to capitalize on mistakes, and that's what they do well. That's what they needed to do earlier, and that's why they've got those triple kill there. Really, really, like, unfortunate for Debatable is, I don't know how it happened, but the Call of the Forge God lands onto Moxie Babe. However, he misses his axe twice onto the knocked up target because they didn't have vision. They knew that they were in the bush, but didn't know where in the bush. So unfortunately, Moxie Babe goes down a little slower than they would have liked and is able to get that final spark off. So really, really good for UOW, tragic for UC, as a proactive play from Debatable ends up in a triple kill for the enemy mid lane.
I feel this is, again, just a reoccurring theme, unfortunately, for the University of Canberra as well. They look competitive for the first 10 minutes. One little thing goes wrong, and then everything just seems to snowball out of control. Now, we haven't hit that snowball yet. You know, we're still at the top of the mountain. Got to make our way down, but it starts to feel like the beginning of the end. UC had a gold lead. They no longer have it. They had that tempo, those map advantages, no longer have it, and now they have to deal with a very, very, very large Victor, who is actually using this presence in the side lanes at the moment, and strangely enough, not the sideline where the next neutral objective is. I would have rather seen Victor go top if he was going to be playing side lanes. Go ahead and send Coffee bottom as he has that teleport. That's not the play, and UC might be getting a second Herald as a result.
Yeah, it looks like UC is going to be getting the Herald here, as there's no contest from UOW in the pit. So, free Herald here. The question is, how effective is it going to be? In reality, there's no plates to be gotten at this point, so there's no major gold benefit. I believe a Herald's worth like 300-400 gold by itself, so a little bit of gold back for them. They're still behind in the gold count, and there's no plates to be had, so I think that's why UOW didn't really care that much to contest it, because they've got the gold advantage. There's no plates to be had. At worst, they lose a tower.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when and where it gets played. Kist in danger of being dove yet again. Last time it was that Call of the Forge God play. This time, it's the teleport and the bait play. Still, Kist has to stay alive, and he's not going to be able to get out of this one. Shockwave only connects onto Kawaii Ikea Cobra. He's going to try and weather the storm, because here comes Ragnarok. The axe does not connect, and Bill can flash over the wall, looking for that re-engage right now. Bill will go down. Nice snipe from Cobra, and the knock-up on to Kawaii Ikea means a flash over the wall from Herdier should bring him down, yet Kale is there to keep him alive. On the back end, another member fell. It was Cobra as well as Lemon Soda. UOW turned the fight around. They'll get the tower or the dragon. The choice is theirs.
That was a really, really good Ash arrow there coming out of Duterte there, as they are going to try summon their Herald to try, you know, slow down objective taking on the side of UOW. They're not going to get the tower in the end, but they're at least going to get some damage down onto that mid-tier 1 to maybe try and crack it open with a push. As overall, a really, really good fight from UOW, and that's where the strength of that Kale ultimate comes in. You have a really, really bad looking spot for your main carry, drop it down, they're now more than safe, and they are able to peel out of that fight. What looked like a death is now actually another kill, so...
Yeah, and UOW, again, 100% kill participation at the moment out of Kawaii Ikea, putting up an absolutely dominating showing on this Victor at this stage. the roams, getting to where he needs to be time and time again has just been so critical for him because these haven't been solo kills in lane. Cobra has only died once this game, yet this Victor is 5-0. So that just tells me he's just been getting quicker to these plays, and that teleport being run out of the mid lane very much getting its use in this one. Now UOW, they're a dragon up as well. They're continuing to slowly grow this gold lead, and you see now in a bit of a strife, Coffee has sort of hit that level 11 power spike, and you can see it coming into play. That wave clear is going to be a serious threat, and it's going to be hard for Kiss to get any farm in.
Yeah, and something to take note of is in this patch, I believe, they increased the range of the Kale E and removed the mana feedback on it. So at this point, it's really efficient for them to be able to push safely. Ooh, Cobra very low there from that dive, but so is Kawaii, Kia, and Bill. So
yeah,
curious to see what they're going to do here. They're going to go for something.
You got to let it go.
Yeah, there's no point.
It looks so tasty and it looks so tempting, yet you gotta let it go sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it is not meant to be, as they will still get that bot tower. And see, that's what patience gets you. You might not end up getting that kill that you wanted, but at the end of the day, you get that tower, you get that objective, and now next time, if they're pushed up that far, they might not be safe, as we haven't engaged.
Oh, Call of the Forge God does connect on the Coffee, Lemon Soda, as well as Herder, as well as Debatable. Everyone from the University of Canberra has arrived up top. I feel like that's half of the territory's population, and they get themselves the kill.
They finally get themselves a kill with a nice team roam onto Coffee in the top lane, who was a little bit too far up for where he needed to be, trying to contest Kist in that top lane. You know, top lane islands only exist until the enemy realize they exist. So I think UC finally realized that top lane is a place they can visit and decided to try and put a dampener onto the pretty strong Kale, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good little pick, but always the question should be, what do you get from it and, like, out of it? They sent 4 people up top for 1 Kale, and they, I guess, will eventually get that tower, I suppose. Kawaii Ikea, if they really wanted to. Actually, UOW, they're in position. They could have actually made the motion to save it in this instance, so a little bit surprising overall. I'm actually curious if you see, you know, they didn't stick around, they didn't take that tower, if they're not going to be able to get away with this, because you do have Bill right up there in that top lane. It does look like as this Kist is going to walk away. I guess they did get something from it. I don't know. I would have liked to see a bit more.
Yeah, well, it's more the fact that I think I agree with what you're saying in the sense that they committed a lot of resources to a micro gain. They really didn't get anything major for it. They got the kill onto Coffee. Great. They got it onto Herdia, which is good, you know, trying to get that advantage in that ADC spot. Because currently, the engage actually going down, but the insta-cleanse, not letting anything go down. Good summoner spell, especially against an Ashe Lux.
Look, if you don't want to pay the QSS tax, you get yourself a cleanse. Ragnarok, though, doesn't need cleanse, but it doesn't save you from the damage. That last arrow through the heart from Duterte means that UOW can set themselves up for a nice siege in mid lane.
And see, this is why Duterte is actually stronger than he appears, is although there's only that 1 kill separating Herdia and Duterte, if you look at the team comp of UC, they have an Ornn, they have an Olaf, and they have a Nautilus. You take the fact that Ashe has got that Blade of the Ruin King built into the kit, she's actually getting a lot more damage down than Herdia would be able to in the same position, which is really why there's that disposition in strength.
This is a call.
Yeah.
The 20-minute Baron, UC aware of it, they're going to look to fight. Call the Forge God is whiffed! You cannot afford to miss that ability, yet still UC is looking for the fight anyways. A 3-man Shockwave beats Coffee, has to self-ult. Both junglers are kind of trying to get to that pit. Bill just says, you know what, I'll kill the Ornn and then the Baron and go over the wall and find Cobra as well. UC needed to abandon the play. Instead, they give up 2 of their lives. UOW get Baron. They have blown this game open.
I think that's the first time while casting I've legitimately facepalmed. Like, it wasn't even like a oh no moment. That was a literal hand reactions, hand on head, RIP UC moment. And that's not what you want to have. They were in a great spot. Call of the Forge God coming through, potentially onto 4 people in the Baron pit. And it misses. So that whole engage just got stifled in a moment. And like you said, they didn't stop. So they're just going to shove down here, get the first in here, back off, get Infernal, and rotate down bot.
I refuse to ignore the fact that we saw Herdier get sniped by 2 global ults from off screen and killed.
Yeah.
That needs some acknowledgement, okay? It wasn't the biggest thing in the grand scale of things. Obviously, the fight was more important, but we saw that. Don't worry. Another dragon secured by UOW. That is their third of this game, and they've got the Baron. They've got that dragon control. UC, Dignitas reference, okay? They're doing well until suddenly they're not.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what we were talking about pre-game, which is both of these teams have inconsistencies, and that's why they're where they are. However, UC is consistently inconsistent, whereas UOW at least has a couple of people who are able to shine through even when they make mistakes. Like Bill, Kawhi, Kia, Duterte, they've all made mistakes. Coffee's made mistakes. However, that hasn't stopped them winning the game or progressing the game. Whereas the mistakes coming out of UC, like there, Kist missing the call of the Forge God, that's not just an oopsie daisy, that's a big mistake that's stopping them from progressing in this game and winning.
It could be stopping them from progressing in this tournament, because with a loss in this game, they will fall to 0-5, which means their best bet to hit top 6 would be to win out. 4-5 can get you there via tiebreakers. However, you also are going to need a bit of luck on your side, because I feel like it's going to be one of those situations where, yeah, it's going to come down. You would need to be 4-5, and you would need help as opposed to elsewhere. Another call of the Force God not going to connect. Kiss just was dead already, so, you know, sometimes you have to be standing in order to beat giant spectral rams with shields. Either way, UOW, they're starting to accelerate this game. They're starting to look to close it out. UC, again, slowest average game time, and it looks like that's coming true again once more.
Yeah, as we see UC getting 302'd right now, they're just going to take that top inhib, they're going to take that bot inhib, and they don't have the resources to commit and get rid of things.
Herder's already gone.
They're gone.
Just took Coffee and Bill, and all of a sudden, Senna goes back into Thresh's lamp. More pressure coming from UOW as they continue to lay waste of this Canberra base. Kist, again, has Call of the Force God available not for another 30 seconds or so. The siege is just going to continue. No reason for UOW to back out, except that 3-made shockwave might actually get something going. to Terry gets the benefit of the kill ult and turns the damage around. Somehow surviving on a sliver of health means UC has no more chances in this game. UOW advances to 2-3 on the season.
Yeah, they finally get that extra win where they should be, and that's the strength of that Borg Duterte. Like I said, shredding through that fight at the